Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast with Kevin and Chuck. Today, we're going to talk logistics. Networking, community, having resources of people rather than just stuff can be a huge game changer with survival and you know, basically getting through hard times. A lot of the prepper survivalist kind of world, isolation is a kind of accepted norm, I think. People tend to isolate themselves because, one, it's impossible to take care of everybody, and two, people are worried about keeping their own their stuff safe and, you know, out of the prying eyes of people who have ill intent, I guess. But another thing, you know, a lot of times the people who become preppers or whatever are people who don't trust their government. That's not always the case. I mean, if you just watch the world and how things play out, you understand that things, you know, constantly are changing and people end up in different situations and with different stuff, and people, you know, end up, there are a lot of things to prepare for. Even environmental issues, earthquakes, you know, hurricanes, whatever. But sometimes there's been major catastrophes, like what happened in Puerto Rico. Now, Puerto Rico luckily had Big Brother America right there to come, you know, bail them out and bring in aid and stuff, which made it not the end of the world. But, I mean, for a lot of little countries, that kind of would have been the end of the world if other people didn't step up. Mm-hmm. And it's just that, you know, we tend to think that there's, you know, different things that, you know, can affect us. So either way, a lot of people kind of get into that, well, I don't trust my government. And I'm kind of one of those people who doesn't really trust my government to always make the best choices in my interest. I also see countries like Iran and China wanting to, you know, wanting to destroy America, you know, when they run around with their death to America chants kind of thing. I tend to, you know, believe that they actually hate us. You know, when I go to Middle Eastern countries and they just spit on you as the American soldier, you're like, oh, they might not like us here.
They might not care for
you. Think that. So anyway, so I think people have ill intent out there. So anyway, what happens is people tend to keep their stuff, their cards close to the chest, and they don't want to, you know, tell anybody, you know, what they have. And so they end up kind of being closed off. And the more I go out and hang out in my community, I realize there's a lot of great people out there and a lot of people who would be kind of valuable assets and good people to know, good people to have. And I guess the way it started that got me thinking about this lately is my wife's been doing a lot of like farmers market type stuff. And I go into town, and I'm in a tiny town. I actually been talking to the mayor when I go to this farmers market, and I'm kind of seeing how he operates. And it is such a tiny town. The town that I live outside of is 223 people. It's 0.7 square miles. And I think it's 60% in poverty. It's pretty rough. But anyway, so but what it ends up being is it's super close knit and people kind of all know each other, and it's kind of cool like that. So talking to the mayor, this guy kind of knows everybody in the town and he knows what kind of resources they are. So when the farmers market happened, he wanted to, oh, I want one of the local pastors. Now, mind you, I say pastors because there's about 8 churches in that tiny town. I haven't figured out how that happened. But anyway, oh, I want a pastor to come and do like an opening prayer and come check it out. I want somebody to come out and help and set up some stuff, and can we bring in a food cart, or we got the hot dog cart came over for breakfast time farmers market because that seems like a good idea, whatever. But he knew kind of everybody, and the thing is, because he's kind and because he gets involved and he looks out for people and he talks to people, everybody's happy to return the favor and kind of, hey, you need me, I'm here for you because you've been here for me and you've helped out. And he was talking about how he kind of gets to know people. He's like, yeah, I like to get up an hour early before the farmers market so I can come out and help people set up the tent and get ready to go. And that way, when I'm helping them, I can get to know them and have a chance to talk to them. And by making a little effort on your part, kind of opens that door and sets the stage of kind of network and building a community. Now, the reason I say all that and the reason it's kind of important to get to know each other is, it's so much better to have allies than enemies in a time that's, bad. I'm not saying tell people, oh, hey, I'm the crazy prepper guy up the road and I have, all this stuff and, I can help out and whatever. Whoa, you don't want to be goodwill to whatever, but you want to get involved and know people. One, you kind of know what's going on and understand your community a little better. But 2, you can start to work into the conversations of kind of getting other people prepared and kind of nudging them in the right direction of what they could do to make their situation better. Because the more prepared people are around you, the less they're going to want to come and take your stuff, is the bottom line. And the more, the less will be required of you to help out, and the more you can kind of work together.
Yeah, I think a lot of us kind of view prepping and view our preps as like, the lone wolf type of, man standing up for his family, out there alone. But the truth of the matter is, we all live in communities that have a lot to offer. You know what I mean? The people around you have a lot to offer. And, just being involved with your local community can make a big difference in your preps and your survival if it really comes down to it.
Right.
I know, hundreds of years ago, they would say, if you committed a heinous crime, they would banish you or exile you. And, right. that was really it. You were fucked if that happened. You're out there and you're alone and there's no way you're going to make it. Nowadays we don't really think of that as being something right. terrible. But the truth is,
I'm still going to have my Starlink internet and my
right. Exactly. And I think, when you're looking for people in your community that share your same views and beliefs, or at least, similar ideas and beliefs, you want to find the natural habitat, right? If you're hunting for deer, you don't go to downtown, in the firehouse parking lot looking for deer. You want to be in the woods in their natural habitat where they're naturally hanging out. So, I mean, if you just wanted to cruise through your gun stores, your gun shows, agricultural expos, that sort of stuff, you might start to run into people that have the same kind of
right.
views. One of the great places I find people that have similar interests are when I take classes. You know, I remember
Yes.
I remember you talking about taking a trapping class a couple of years back, and
Right.
I know you were talking about running into a lot of people, hunting classes, shooting classes, first aid classes. Um, One of my favorite things is the you know, when one of the places I run into the most people that I enjoy talking to are, you know, different clubs and organizations like the American Legion, you know, the VFW, you know, that sort of group. And you know, I feel like a lot of us look at people and think, all right, I need somebody that's good at nursing in my community. I need, or, you know, in my prepper
Right.
organization here. I need somebody that's, you know, really good at firearms. But, you know, the truth is almost every profession, you know, anybody that's got almost any job is going to fit into, you know, your group if you, you know, make a space for it.
Well, also, if you get to know people, and that's the thing. I mean, people might not even know what the asset they bring to the table is. Somebody involved that you're paying attention and listening to, podcasts like this, reading books, listening to prepper novels or whatever. Yeah, you can go in and go, yo, these are the skills that, could be a great asset to a prepper community. But your average person doesn't even always realize what, how their skill might translate into a survival kind of situation. And even planning and organizing has a purpose. Nobody likes the big, logistic, nobody likes management. That's really the thing. Nobody likes the big, whatever, but it really takes somebody who can organize and whatever. I know in the Navy you had what SKs or whatever, the shopkeepers, the supply people.
Hmm.
They have a new name now. I haven't really figured out what it is, but those guys who know who has what, where it is, and how to get it are a valuable asset. And
Right.
so somebody who's the big talker and kind of knows and can, just has the right personality might be your guy for that. And just kind of understanding people's abilities and who they are, they're bringing, something to the table. You can realize who would be good for what. And I would say organizing people to align with you as opposed to leaving them to fend for themselves. Because when people get desperate, it doesn't end well. You know, desperate people do desperate things, and that's something we want to, avoid in a tough situation. So, just learning how to, communicate with each other and work together, but also knowing people's abilities beforehand. And the thing is, if you can encourage them to stress it a little bit more, um, so if you have a friend who maybe was an EMT or whatever, and you could nudge them into taking some more classes to up their medical stuff, to maybe have them say, hey, do you stockpile any kind of, medical equipment or whatever? Could you, what would it take? Like, what kind of things would you need? Even if you had them say, look, I'm planning on putting together my own kind of like EMT bag or something. Could you help me stock it and, just show me the right things? Or they might know where to get stuff cheap, or they might know whatever. But the thing is, if you had the tools that maybe you don't even know how to use, when this guy becomes your buddy later in a time where you kind of need him to be the medical guy, if you can't nudge him into preparing his own stuff, you could maybe have the tools that might be the difference between life and death. That, is something to look at. The guy who's the gunsmith who you nudge to take the extra class or two, hey, you like guns, I'm going to this tactical training class in a month. Maybe you want to come with me and check it out and whatever. And just kind of encourage people to develop their skills and
Hmm.
develop the tools that they need that sometimes are so easy to get right now, but might not be easy to get, when the time comes that you're in a stressful situation. So, nudging people in the right direction. Another thing that got me thinking about this is I was talking to a listener, guy Jack, who was saying, his community had talked to him about putting together like a, what do you call it? Neighborhood watch, right? Something like that. And with the neighborhood watch, he's like, look, these people don't all agree with me politically, and we're not all definitely the same thing. And I'm like, no, but you want to find the common ground, right? You want to find the things that you can agree on. You want to know what's normal, what's happening in my community that we expect to see, what's going on that feels right and normal, and who comes and visits people, is their son comes by once a week and checks on this person and whatever. But I think also it's, you want to know who has what skill, there's a bunch of people who are not security minded, but when they see something funny, who in the neighborhood, who are the 2 or 3 people that they could call to, hey, the guy next door kind of knows a little security stuff, and he's a little tougher and better with talking to people who are, whatever. When you're comfortable and you have that network of phone numbers and who is good at what, that guy's the EMT, this person just broke their arm and it's going to be a half hour before the ambulance gets here. That'd be cool if that guy could come over. But if you know who's available and who the resources are in your community, it can really be a game changer on the outcome. And, the person doesn't come help if they don't know. And, that's where you need to get to, know people and understand what's available to you right there. And I think it's so important to kind of just get a feel for, a lay of the land. People have their big yard or whatever, you have 20 acres or whatever. You probably go out, take the 4-wheeler around it and kind of notice, and what's familiar and what you're used to. And, I always see deer over in this section. I always see, whatever going on in the different places. You get familiar, a lay of the land. Well, you can do that in your town and community and kind of get to know people. Now, we only have so much time and so many resources, but I know that as preppers, I do, and a lot of people get very focused in our own stuff, and we tend to lose sight of the bigger picture and all the goings on, around us and, kind of everything else. And we lose focus of that. And these other people and your community are a valuable resource, and it is something worth developing. Like I said, it doesn't mean you need to tell them all your, all your supplies and, hey, I'm a crazy prepper and, hey, I'm all whatever, but start to know each other and understand, what's appropriate.
Yeah, I think, like you were saying, a lot of us get focused on our own, our own individual stuff, what's going on, what supplies we have, what stuff we've stockpiled. But the truth is, we're all, a lot of the guys that listen to the show, and even me, I get into that mindset where I'm like planning for end of the world apocalypse doomsday shit. But the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of times where prepping really comes in handy. With the beginning of the pandemic, there was like a real shortage on a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that I had stockpiled. And people are worried about hoarding. You bought all the toilet paper up and didn't leave anybody for anybody else. You're not that person because you already have that stuff set aside somewhere. And when it comes down to those things, and, you're talking to your friends and neighbors and they're saying, I can't find toilet paper anywhere, or I can't find this or that, come on by, or I'll stop by your place. I'll drop some off because I have extra. You know what I mean? Just being able to help out in your community with basic smaller stuff really makes a big difference. And that's one of the reasons that we prep, so that we can help out friends or neighbors when they're not prepared. And then you can also, use that as, a conversation starter,
Right.
I'm a crazy person.
Exactly.
I have boxes of toilet paper, maybe think about stocking up on, this or that next time you're at the grocery store. Next time you run out to Walmart or Target, maybe just buy a couple extra things to have on your shelf. That's what I've been doing. And if I can help out you, then, I'm happy about that. I don't need a return in investment, But if I can use that as a way to encourage my friends and neighbors to kind of prepare themselves a little bit better, plan ahead a little bit more, then that's a win, and what does it cost me? It cost me the extra, $8 I spent 3 months ago at the store when I bought some extra toilet paper when it wasn't an issue. Those sorts of stuff really can, help you create a network of people that you can rely on. When they feel that they can rely on you, they also feel like they're going to help you out the best they can when they have an opportunity to do that.
Exactly. No, that's the thing, is building up that, connection, and then that connection is going to pay off. It's kind of like developing a skill. You put your time into learning how to shoot and how to move quietly, or how to track, or how to trap, or how to, anything. The same thing is building up that connection with people. The more that, you can work with and interact with people in your area, the more, and like I said, it doesn't have to be everybody. I'm not saying go into the crazy socialist club on the corner or whatever and, go in there and, hey, I'm going to hang out with you because that's, what I was told to do. That's not exactly what I'm going for. What I'm saying is just get involved a little bit and see what's out there and see what people you can connect with. And, just because somebody doesn't vote for the exact same person you do or agree with you politically doesn't mean that they're not a good person. I'm always amazed at how much we have in common. Like we all want the best for our family. We all want our kids to have good things. We all want a safe community where we're not going to get shot. We all want, a clean street that doesn't have garbage and litter all over it. These are normal things that people can agree on, and, that it ends up, we can, come together on so many things. But people get so caught up in the things that are different and the things that, we can hate about each other. The differences stick out like a sore thumb, and it doesn't have to be that. We can all kind of work together and agree and find that common ground. But I got to say, I have a strong feeling that me and the mayor, when we talk, we don't agree politically on things, but in the broader thing. But this guy cares about our community and wants to make the community better and wants to help the people in the community. And that's his only goal, is how can I, now again, sometimes his approach, but because that's his goal, when I talk to him about my kind of more conservative ideas and ways to do things, he's very open-minded and very interested in it, because it serves the purpose of making his community better and having his people, whatever. And it also frees up ideas, money for other things that, they can do. But
yeah, I think a lot of people have animosity towards, towards organizations and groups. And, it's really, political difference is one thing. But the truth is, if you sit down and talk to anybody, you're going to be able to find common ground. And a lot of people, I think of myself as a bit of a right wing extremist, but
the
I
government
talk to
also
people. I
thinks
talk
that
to people
about you
that are,
too.
Yeah. But I talk to people. I know people that are socialists. Crazy people. That's fine. I'm crazy too. I hear a lot of people. New York. There's a lot of nut jobs up here, and starting with our governor. Grabbing fannies and killing grannies, doing his thing. But Governor Cuomo, I don't know if he's on his way out or not. But regardless,
I don't think so. You can't stop a Cuomo in New York.
In this state, even with all the nonsense that's going on, most of the people would vote for him again and reelect him.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my burden to bear. I got to live in this crazy environment here. But that doesn't mean that these crazy people that I'm completely opposed to politically in every way, that doesn't mean that as a person I can't get along with them and I can't help them out and they can't help me out. you know?
So what you're saying is really on the weekends, you and Cuomo go hit the bar and hang out? Is that what you're telling
Yeah.
me?
Yeah,
Okay.
me and Cuomo head out to the bar, grab pussies, whatever it is that Cuomo does.
Whatever it
I don't
is.
even understand anymore. Apparently, he's just been grabbing titties left and right up in Albany there. But
It doesn't make any sense. And that's the thing is, it's funny because it always seems that people who are very left leaning are the ones who have, like, I mean, obviously conservative women are offended when some guy gropes a girl or something, but I guess women are left leaning women are known for the dramatic outrage with that kind of thing, and they're like, oh, that's so horrible, and let's take down Hollywood, and they're just so outspoken about it. And then when it's somebody, you know, who's a champion of left-leaning values like Andrew Cuomo, then they're like,
well, let's wait and see. Let's find out what really happened. Let's not jump to
here's some video of it happening. Yeah, but I don't know if I can really trust my eyes on that one. We don't know what led up to him grabbing her butt like that. You know, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think everybody's guilty of that in their own way, right? And, you know, a lot of the times we use these political differences as a way to judge people before we get to know them. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Oh, you're a Democrat, you're liberal. I'm not even going to bother talking to you or getting to know you. But the truth of the matter is, we all want basically the same thing. We want to live in a safe community. We want to be surrounded with people that we can trust and count on when times get hard. And as a prepper, that's kind of our job, to be somebody that you can count on, to be somebody that our neighbors can count on when things go bad, you know? And I think that's important. Getting to know your community and getting to know the people that are around you every day, day in, day out. That's really important. And it's really important to build kind of a bond with these types of people. And when you do that, you'll realize that a lot of these people have a lot to bring to the table when it comes down to emergency situations.
Exactly. No, and that's the thing. I mean, working together, knowing each other's abilities and resources, one, you can be a big help to your community. You can be a help to others. And I got to say, that's a big part of living. I mean, that's what makes life enjoyable and good is, you know, interacting, that human connection, and, you know, working together and helping people. I mean, that makes you feel good. It's nice to do nice things for people, and you want to take care of people. I'm good with that. I just don't want to take other people's stuff and then use it for whatever I want, or, you know, whatever. That's where I, you know, find the problems. You know, at heart, the socialism idea kind of sounds nice because you're like, oh, we could all work together and, you know, use people's, you know, everybody works like they should, and we'll all kind of just share the profits and it'll be great. The problem is there is no, the word community or like that. That's not like a person. Like, the community isn't really a thing. It's a bunch of individuals. And the problem is when the government is not like a big group. It's individuals who make decisions and decide what's best. And somehow the government people making decisions is not necessarily deciding what is best for the mass of people. You know, people have individual needs, and it just, the more you get removed, even if you're trying to help everyone and that is your intent and you care, you still can't satisfy everybody's need in the right way on a grand blanket level. And that's, you know, where it starts to fall apart. But then you also add human nature, which has some selfishness and some greed, and people want power and they want to be in charge. They want to be respected. And I swear the people who seem to seek out government office are people who crave, you know, respect from other people and whatever, rather than the people who necessarily earn it. You know, there was always that story of like Davy Crockett, you know, and he, you know, everybody's like, hey, go be a congressman, go, you know, hang out in Washington and whatever. And he wanted to help his community. And so he did it. He's like, hey, I'll go do the public service thing. But when you get there, and, he ended up he has this like kind of farewell speech that may or may not be factual. I'm told it is in the congressional record, and you can go read it there. I don't know. I've read so many mixed reviews. He really was a congressman, whether however it played out, I don't know at the end. But bottom line, he ends up giving this big impassioned speech about the government being there to serve the people. And then he's like, but, all I know is I'm going to Texas and you can all go to hell, because he was like, we're not serving the people. That's the bottom line. Right. And he realized that going out and just being a good person among the community, being a leader in his community, brings more value than what politicians were able to do in Washington at the time. And I would like to say is the same case now. You being a leader and a good person in your community, and I don't mean by having political office. You can have political office and be a great asset in your community, but you can also just go kind of take charge, organize things that need to be organized. Hey, if we had this food drive and we helped out this family that just, had the lady became a widow and who knows what, and the community burned, let's organize and do something. That's fine. Let's go out and put the house back together that burned down. Let's go, do something. That's great. You deciding that I should give and you should take my stuff to go help her out, and you're going to take a little bit for yourself, might not be what's best. So, I can understand what the fear of government is and why people, get reluctant to, jump on board with that. But it's also, not a bad idea to help each other out and to get involved in your community and kind of work together. That's all.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good, man. Now, you were saying that we got some patches in. What's the status patches there?
So all right. So they're all sent out. So everybody should have patches out there who feels entitled to one. You should have received it by now. I even heard one made it by dog sled up to Alaska. So.
Oh, good. He got it. All right. Well, now, how do I get a patch, though, if I want one? How would I go about getting a patch?
So if you wanted to have a cool prepping badass, maybe if you duck your head, people can see what you're talking about here. Oh, yeah. So we actually put this up on YouTube also. And I know I said that last week and then it never ended up there. That's because the video didn't really work out like I had a fantasy of. But we did try and put this episode up. Hopefully it's there this week too. Again, I don't know real time, but hopefully this is going to work out. If it does, you'll be able to check this video out and you'll see this cool badass banner that Kevin's rocking. Anyway, we have these awesome patches, and they're available to you if you sign up to support us on patreon.com/preppingbadass. It takes as little as $1 a month, and we will send you out a patch. And if you want to sign up for 1 month, send us $1. I'll mail you a patch, and you can call and cancel it. Or you don't call, I guess you just go in there and click some buttons, and it cancels. Whatever, your $1 a month, and then you win, because the patch cost me about $1, and it cost me like $2 to mail it, plus like 50 cents for an envelope. So you're already coming out on top with that. But whatever. Also, if you want some badass gear like this cool Prepping Badass banner, t-shirts, whatever, check out preppingbadass.com. Maybe you want to be a sponsor of the show. I know some of you have reached out, said you're kind of putting your prepping survival gear businesses together and things you might want to advertise or promote or do. I am happy to work with you, happy to kind of work out anything you want. Or if you just want, you're a cool guy and you're a listener of the show and you want something, I might be able to plug you. Just, who knows? I just like people. I'm a nice guy. I like to help people out. Shoot us an email, talk to us. Maybe we'll work something out. Anyway, have thoughts on show topics, things you want to hear about, places where you want to tell Kevin he's wrong. I mean, that comes up all the time. Listener emails
there's
come
a lot
in
of people that disagree
daily,
with everything I say, and I love
daily,
that shit.
where they're like, Kevin is an idiot. I don't even know how you let that guy on the show. And I'm like, exactly. I say the same thing every morning. Is that another message just came in saying you're an idiot? Does your phone
says,
right now say,
Kevin, go fuck yourself? That's
exactly.
That was that beep you heard with my phone letting me know I'm an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also set my own alarm on my phone, periodically through the day.
Go be a dick to somebody today.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Just a little motivational reminder to be an asshole someplace, somewhere.
Exactly. So, I don't know. Any thoughts, concerns, things you want to hear about, let us know. Again, you'd email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. Or what were you saying?
And check out our Facebook page if you have a chance. We got a lot of guys there posting a lot of interesting stuff, day in, day out.
Somehow Facebook wasn't letting me approve new members or whatever, but all that's worked out. Right. I think 30 of you just got to join the club this week, so things are on the up. And otherwise, look out for each other. Stay safe. We'll talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass Podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.